I'm like, is it the cue? Is it the cue?
What I'm going to do, we've got a little bit of a sensory thing, okay, going on here, but I want to explain to you what's up here so you know how to direct yourself through it and so you know what you can gain out of it, okay? On this side, there are barista competition score sheets, which could be useful, especially if you've never seen one, but also just to think about the activity, okay? On this side, you guys are quite lucky if you're doing Brewers Cup because I've actually written all the notes on there and photocopied it on there for you. So you get loads and loads of stuff already in there and don't have to write very quickly. So the name of the game is, on this side we've got juices for this activity, just to not over-caffeinate you at this hour, okay? It's a really, really useful thing because also this can be used to do the same activity at home in different ways and formats, okay? On that side we do have coffee, okay? And that's for the specific reason to kind of carry on from here. So first and foremost, maybe if you've never seen a barista score sheet and you want one, I'll just pass that around just because it might be helpful to follow along. I have what I'm about to tell you written down here as well, so when you come up, you can have a look as well. Okay, there's some pens as well if you want to take notes. So if we start with Barista Championships, I'm only going to talk you through the espresso and the milk course, because that's the one that you're going to be looking at for the first round, okay? And then I'm going to explain to you how that applies to this activity, okay? So in the first course, which is espresso, you would have crema. I don't think I need to explain to you guys what crema is, so it'd be yes or no. But then your next box there, of 0 to 6, is taste experience. So what that means, very specifically, is the components of the taste experience, which is the sweetness, the acidity, and the bitterness, yeah? What is the quality of it? You want a high quality. And if you think about that, think about the difference between a low quality and a high quality 70% dark chocolate bar. There's a difference in that, right? That bitterness in itself. How well does sweetness, acidity, and bitterness fit together? Yeah? And how well do they complement each other? That is what you're looking at, being measured upon, when you are looking at that specific part, okay? With regard to these juices would have all been made to have a balance, because they're supermarket juices, right? We have 2 types of apple, right? I love this game, though. 2 types of apple. 2 types of apple. I'm like, what do we have? We have 2 types of orange. We'll come back to why those are, but we've got an orange smooth and an orange bits. We have a pink grapefruit juice. It'd be great for a white one, but we've got a pink. We won't be fussy. Yeah. We've got some smoothie type drinks, and we have cranberry juice. With regard to taste balance, when you taste these juices, think about, because they all have a balance, how their balances are different. How are they similar? Why does the balance work? Yeah? Some of them will have higher acidity. Even between these 2 apple juices, there will be differences in the levels of acidity and sweetness, but they're still balanced. So how does that work, and how does that relate to the 3 things that I told you about in this section? Okay? Each one is really good to do this with. We move on to accuracy of flavor descriptors. That is quite literally the accuracy. If I told you this orange juice tastes like apple, I would not be very accurate. Right? But the tactile experience is another one. So when we're talking about the tactile experience, we're actually talking about the quality of the experience the judge is having, okay? So that is from the judge's perspective. From this side, what is the quality of that experience? That quality is looking at the weight, okay? So that's that viscosity, okay? It's looking at the texture. So what does the mouth feel like? Is it watery? Is it tea-like? What is that like? And then the finish. So that's the length, ideally, of positive flavor, being very long, right? So a high score would be long, really positive. A low score would be long, really negative. Right? And then your middle scores, you've got that short, that's not great, right, long. So you're thinking about that as a judge, and you're saying, how positive is this espresso someone served me? What is going on there with that? And that's that first section, which is the tactile experience, okay? The second section is then the accuracy, which is how you describe it and how we experience it, okay? So those need to be aligned, yeah? So with regard to the juices again, it's a great one for this, right? there will be massive difference in tactile experience between these juices, even within the sections of them. So your weight, your texture, and your finish, right? Even these will have some differences, but definitely you've got apple juice, you've got orange juice with bits, that's going to be different. You've got smoothie, okay? And you have the finish as well, which cranberry juice will have a very different finish than, say, apple juice. So when you taste these juices, pay attention to the experiences, the weight, the texture, and the finish. Try to describe them. Yeah? Compare notes with each other. See if what you just described is what someone else perceives, because that's actually what's going on here, right? And these are a really good way to do it. That is the juices. I will tell you just a little bit about the milk, since we're not going to taste the milk drinks today. I don't think juice with milk would be nice. But basically, it's just a couple notes here again for you, again, when you're walking around your sheets, if you want to take some notes down. In the visual, it's that kind of contrast, definition, symmetry, glossy, smooth. It's not whether you poured me a swan. It's these specifics: contrast, definition, smooth, glossy texture, yeah? Don't bite off more than you can chew. And then really with the taste experience, again, we're coming into taste experience, but we're combining two elements now. We're combining milk and we're combining coffee, right? So we're looking for what is the harmonious balance between the sweetness of the milk, yeah, and the espresso base. And it needs to support specialty coffee as a drink, okay? And you're thinking about temperature and you're thinking about texture. Since we aren't making you milk orange juice drinks, when you go back to your cafe, good little exercise, take your espresso, the espresso you have on bar, taste that espresso, same exact thing, in milk drinks that are a latte, let's say in a flat white, and just notice the difference. That'll start you already in thinking about how to reverse engineer that drink. Okay? That is this side. These will be here for you. So that's your juice experience, okay? Then on the Brewer's Cup, for anyone you're looking to do Brewer's Cup, all the notes, Brewer's Cup is a much more intensive sheet, so I put everything in there for you. Are every single piece of note from what the aroma, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, body balance, and overall mean, okay? With Brewer's Cup, the key thing to remember is that first stack of scores is what you brewed and not how we experienced it. That's not the section that's having to do with what you said. That's the section that has to do with how well you brewed it, literally compared to the origin, compared to everything. There's aspects here that'll have to do with like what you've told us about the coffee and what the expectation would be of the body, right? But this is how you brewed it. This is the brewing section of the brewing competition. So your description is in the little corner. So it's taste description, and it is a multiplier, but it's one of those boxes, one. So it reminds you that this is a brewing competition. It's about the brew, and it's about brewing something that is an optimum brew. And of course, we have customer service, multipliers. I've circled, sorry. What we've done here for you, fun little game. 2 brews. I'm not going to tell you about them now, but you've got the scores. So you can taste these brews. You can read the notes from Matt and myself. Had a nice little calibration today. And you can see what those would score. 2 different brews. And you can read why and how, and you can compare that to your notes. So I'd recommend you grab a sheet if you're interested in Brewer's Cup, taste these, and think about how that relates to the score sheet in front of you. And at the end, I'll tell you about these brews. Okay? Right. Jump in, enjoy. We're around. Most of us have done, so Claire's been through this, Rosa's been through this, Matt's in this, so any of us can probably give you any sort of kind of, if you're questioning it, but honestly, just chat about it, you know? Right? Thank you. Oh, yeah. The brews probably are cold now, but sorry. Yeah, you can. So that's Brewer's Cup. Yeah. Juice party. And then, yeah, feel free to grab any of the notes off of here, put it down, your notes for yourself. I pass this to Rob.